Hey YouTube, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you, and today we're going to have a discussion about 2018, the year that was. The first thing I'd like to ask you, what is your knife of the year? I would like you, you know what? I bet a lot of you have finally got knives this year. I know for me, I picked up a Shirogorov F3, and this knife is amazing, and this is probably my standout purchase for the year. Even though this knife is not new this year in terms of, being a newly released model, this is a fairly significant thing for my collection. So I'd love to hear what's sort of the significant thing for your collection. Now, that's not going to be the focus of the video. I'm going to talk more about, specifically things that have happened in the past year that are really interesting or exciting to me. Then at the end of the video, I do want to have an interesting discussion, and I hope you'll join me in this. At the end of this video, I'm going to talk about the things that I hope will happen in 2019. All right, so I would invite you to stick around and reflect on that with me. Tell me what you wish would happen in 2019. A favorite knife model that you hope will come out in a sprint run, or, a change that you hope a certain company will make, or whatever. We'll save that discussion for the end. So let's go ahead and get into the main focus of the video, which is the exciting things that have happened in the past year. And the first one is, and I made a whole video specifically about this, and that's why this one kind of stands out at the top of my mind. This has been a great year if you like really, really well done stuff that is not going to break the bank. There have been tons and tons of great budget options this year. Specifically, though, two stand out where companies have started a whole budget division, a whole budget line. The first one being Tangram Knives from Kaiser, and the second one being Civivi from WEI. Both of these companies both of these divisions of larger companies are making some really, really nice offerings and giving options and features and levels of quality and fit and finish that you really don't often see at the price point they're coming in at. So, Tangram Knives, they're all going to be under $40. So they're in that Rat Model 1 sort of, Spyderco Tenacious price point, and they're really, really well done. The ones I've handled have been great. Even the ones I haven't handled, you just can't find a negative review on them. The one that stands out to me is probably the budget version of the Kaiser Escort design by Pinkerton. That's a great design, and I do hope to check that one out and have a review on it on the channel here shortly. But yeah, so Kaiser with the Tangram series is really, really cool if you're into budget stuff. The other big one is, of course, Civivi, who again has offered just fantastic quality, fantastic features for, very comfortable price points. Now they've recently put some out in VG10 that cost a little bit more, but look, guys, the 9CR18 MOV offerings from Civivi are fantastic, and the 9CR18 MOV is a good steal. Go over and check out Cedric Nada Gear and Outdoors, and he talks about how good it is. He compares it. In fact, he says it's about as, from a performance standpoint, he figures it's as good as VG10 anyway. So you're kind of paying extra for a steel that isn't really offering you a whole lot more. So the Civivi knives, I think, are awesome. And that's not all. I mean, we've had some great Kershaws, the Kershaw Atmos. There's another one that stands out to me, and I just am not thinking of it right now. The Bare Knuckle, again, American-made Kershaw. CRKT had some good stuff, the Pilar for sure, and a couple of others. Bestech, all of their, they've got a lot of different models. The Paladin to me is my favorite one, but the Kendo and a few others are really, really cool. So if you're into budget knives, this has been a fantastic year, and the options have just grown and grown and grown. So you really don't have anything to complain about if you don't want to spend over, say, $50 on a knife. Man, you've got tons of great options. Let me add here, and I think Rake Knives deserves special consideration because in my mind, two of the best rake models, the P865 and the P848, have both come out. One is that super slim, lightweight Wharncliffe. What a great looking knife. Carries like it's not even there. And then, of course, the two-handed opening, blue linered, the other option there is fantastic once again. And so I've got to give Rake credit as they sort of grow and sort of find their feet in terms of a design. They've made some fantastic strides and really given us some great knives to pay attention to. I wasn't quite as impressed with Real Steel this year. I'm only bringing them up because they're they're very similar to rake knives. They're made by the same people. Um, they've had some interesting stuff, but I haven't been as impressed with them this year. Some of their previous stuff, like the H6 and a few others, are great, and I wouldn't, I'm not taking anything away from the models they already had. They just didn't impress me as much for this year. The other company that I'm going to mention while we're talking about that, two disappointments for the year that are going to help us sort of transition into the next phase. I've been a little disappointed with Cold Steel this year. They came out with some new stuff, but nothing as amazing as what they had previously done. Last year, I think 2017 with the Broken Skull was that's just a great knife. When they updated the American Lawman, again, they made something fantastic in that. This year, they didn't have stuff that just quite stood out to me as much. All right. So a little disappointed in Cold Steel, a little disappointed in Spyderco. Not that I didn't like a lot of the models that they released, but they just never got released. Okay, we're still waiting for most of the stuff that Spyderco said was coming this year, and there's only a few days left, so likely it's just not coming. Finally, the Amalgam did make it to market, although my favorite retailer doesn't have it, which is why you haven't seen it on the channel yet. But again, I'm a little disappointed. It would have been nice, if Spyderco just keep this stuff quiet until you're actually ready to give it to us. You tell us about a knife a few weeks before instead of a whole year before we can actually buy it. That would be, I think, something that many of us would appreciate. So a little disappointed in Spyderco. It felt more like they just gave us a lot of pictures of knives rather than actual knives. Moving on to some of the other stuff that's going on, I think probably the biggest standout for me this year has been the WEI Knives mass drop builds. Okay, the Thresher is the hot one right now. It's just now shipping to people who got in on that drop. But there's been the Keen and the Crux and the Buck. There's been a few others as well. Those that are, there's some smaller ones that I'm just not that interested in and not even remembering right now. But the mass drop WEI Knife collaborations are amazing. They have been killing it. The quality is off the charts. The price points have been amazing. Knives that have features that you would never expect to find on a knife for under $200. And they've got all of those features and more, plus anodizing options, plus various, different milled out handle options, all for, less than $150. Fantastic. And so I've got to really say the standout sort of event of the whole year for me has been the WEI Knife mass drop builds. They're just fantastic. And, I'll put a link. I'll try to put some links in the description of the ones that stand out the most to me, those being the Keen and the Crux. The Keen, I think, overshadows all of them. One, it's a little bit bigger. The design is just a little bit cleaner, a little bit classier. And so I've got to say, WEI Knives and mass drop is killing it. In addition, there's a couple of other things that I think stand out to me. From the really high-end world, I think this has been the year of the chamois. A bunch of guys picked up chamois. They've done a field grade in 3-inch. I would love to see a 3.5-inch field grade, although even at that, it's going to be a little too rich for my blood. But the chamois is such a beautiful knife, and yeah, just super impressive. And I've seen, I know tons of you have picked them up, and I totally get it. All right, so we got to mention the chamois. The Ferrum Forge Knife Works and Fortis, built by WEI, but the Fortis 2.0, again, a great knife and gives us something from Ferrum Forge that we can all get our hands on. Brian Nadeau, a designer that I really like. Now, some of his knives go a little over the top. I've had a Mini Typhoon, which was fantastic, but now we have the Evo Typhoon, which is a Nadeau design built by Riot. Totally awesome. And so, again, there have been, if you're into higher end stuff, and this is sort of the category we're in right now, if you're into higher end stuff, there have been some really cool offerings. And so I have to say, I've been very impressed by a number of a number of those. Now, the one that I ended up picking up, which sadly I don't have here to put on camera for you, is but I will put a picture in like I've been doing here, is definitely the Riyadh Kirby Lambert collaboration. I haven't got my full review ready yet. I've just sort of been enjoying that knife, but what a cool knife, what a great offering. And so that's a bit of a trend. You know, we've got the Shamwari, we've got the Typhoon from Nadeau, we've got the Crossroads from Kirby Lambert. So lots and lots of good stuff. Now, it wouldn't be fair to talk about, you know, the exciting things happening in the higher end knives without mentioning zero tolerance. The 0393 and 0462, I think, are some of the best zero tolerance offerings to date. Both of these are just awesome knives. They're well put together. The 0393 is a really, really nice EDC knife, right? It's ground well, it's attractive, it's interesting, it's different. You know, it just checks a lot of boxes. The one miss, I would say, has got to be the pocket clip on there, but there are tons of great clips out there. Now, moving on to, you know, something a little bit different that really kind of stands out as something special in your collection, I think the 0462 is a fantastic offering. One, why does this stand out to me? The sterile blade is wonderful. It looks amazing. Two, the colored carbon fiber. ZT... Oh man, they're kind of struggling with the colored carbon fiber. They keep choosing really, really poor colors that look absolutely hideous. So I wish they'd stop doing that. You know, I kind of feel like the colored carbon fiber is to ZT. You know, it's like giving a kid a new toy and they don't quite know what to do with it yet. And so, yeah, ZT, you got to work on your color choices when it comes to the carbon fiber. The recent Emerson collab in green is horrible. The previous brown 0460 was horrible, but the 0462 just nailed it. That red was really, really attractive. Super lightweight knife, fantastic action, just a real win. So that's the next. Those are the main sort of things on my list that I feel like are worth mentioning. So all of that stuff I think is standing out to me so far. I do have a few others that I really want to mention from some higher end places. So what about Hinderer? We have the Tri-Way Pivot and the Slim XM18. I think both of these are fantastic. Represents a bit of a departure for Hinderer, and it's nice to see, and absolutely you will see in the very near future, as soon as I can possibly make it happen, an XM18 with a Tri-Way pivot, perhaps a Slim. I'm not sure how I feel about the Slim. I'm a little hesitant there because I've had lots of XM18s. The thing that always brings me back to the XM18 is the feel in hand. And I'm afraid that going to the Slim is going to kind of wreck that for me. So I haven't decided. I'm sure the Slim would be probably better for the channel because, you know, it's something new and gives you guys some insight into something that Hinderer is doing. For my own purposes, I'm a little hesitant. I'm sort of leaning toward just going with the standard normal width. Got to mention Medford here. Medford has come out with some smaller knives, the MIDI stuff, which is really interesting. I think Medford is sort of, you know, he had a niche and he did fine in that niche, and he's starting to expand a little bit, which I think is cool. On a sad note, all right, if you followed the channel for any length of time, you know I used to always talk about knives ship free. I found them to be the very best option if you were ordering knives into Canada. They were, of course, very close to the Canadian border. Two things have happened, of course. Number one, very serious and very sad, Derek Bond has passed away, and that's a real loss for the knife community, and that's a sad thing that happened this year. But the other sad thing is that the less serious thing, okay, is that Knives Ship Free relocated to Chattanooga, which means you kind of lose out on that quick shipping benefit that used to be a big thing from them. So that's kind of disappointing to me, and I just don't seem to order now from Knives Ship Free anymore the way that I used to. So those are sort of the things to me that stand out as significant, as good. Some of those, of course, are a little bit sad. I want to switch gears now and get into a little bit of what I would love to see for the future. Okay, what's happening in 2019? Well, I mentioned those exciting Spydercos. We haven't seen them yet. I really hope in 2019 that we see the Paisan and we see a few other of the exciting Spydercos that we're looking for. Obviously, on this channel, I do plan to get my hands on an amalgam and review it as well. I don't know about the Kapara. We'll see. If I happen to, if the stars align and I can get my hands on a Kapara, that's great. It's not one that I'm just really, really rushing out to get my hands on. Those would be the amalgam and the Paisan. I really hope to see, and I look forward to what we might get in the Mass-Drop WEI Knife collabs for 2019. I would love, now if anyone's listening from Mass-Drop, please give me an 8.5-inch crux. Okay, that would be like the knife of my dreams, and it would just, I don't know, I may have to quit knife collecting right then if that happens. So a larger Mass-Drop crux would be a dream come true as far as I'm concerned. Even if that doesn't happen though, I look forward to what they might be doing, and I hope they do. The Laconico, the Keen, was a little larger, and I hope to see some larger stuff from Mass-Drop. That's a little more in my wheelhouse. I'd love to see, and I hope to see, some more interesting, compelling cold steel models. If they stick to the pattern that they created with the Broken Skull and the updated American Lawman, right, where it's a little bit slimmer, it's easy to carry, it's lightweight, but you don't lose any utility. I'd love to see Cold Steel do a couple more things in that vein. All right, so Cold Steel, if you're watching, you kind of have the recipe already in place. All right, so just take that recipe that you got with the Broken Skull, and make us something that is a great, EDC folder that we can really get behind. The other thing I would love to see from Cold Steel, and I guess we'll see, but you guys recently saw my first impressions on the Frenzy. A 3.5-inch Frenzy, I think, would be a really, really great option. So I'd love to see a 3.5-inch Frenzy. What else would I like? Okay, how about this? What ZT collaborations would you guys like to see? It's always exciting when we get to Blade Show, which is, just right around the corner. Once we have New Year's, it's like, boom, Blade Show's coming right up. So I would love a Zero Tolerance collaboration with Peter Rosenti. All right, I know that might be stepping on Spyderco's toes, but the nice thing about a Zero Tolerance from Peter Rosenti is the price point would be much more affordable, right? We know that, they normally land in that $200 to $300 range, which is a really, really nice price point compared to what the Paisan is going to come in at. So that would be really appreciated. I'd love to see another Les George ZT collab. I feel like those have been some of their best knives of recent years. And a JB Stout collaboration. I love JB Stout, such cool knives, aggressive looking, sort of overbuilt, heavy duty. They seem to just kind of tie right in with ZT's theme, so it would be great to see a JB Stout collab from Zero Tolerance. I would love to hear you guys weigh in with what you would like to see for 2019. Let me know down in the comments below, have a little discussion about that, or go over to the Sharp Stuff Facebook page and we can have that conversation over there as well. Don't forget to check out White Mountain Knives. Use my discount code SHARPSTUFF and you'll get 10% off. White Mountain Knives has been great to me this year. That's a really exciting thing to have that discount code and have some access to some knives through them. And the more you use the code, the more incentivized they are to, make that pot a little bit sweeter. So I have to pay for everything I get from White Mountain Knives. Eventually, though, if you guys buy lots of stuff, it may get to a point where they'd send me stuff for free because it's worthwhile to them. So if you use that discount code, that would be very appreciated. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you have a great Christmas, a very happy New Year, and all of God's blessings in 2019. We will talk to you soon.